Welcome to this short film on findings from the initial soft launch phase of NHS Now. For the initial launch, we adopted 4 approaches. The first 2 approaches were generic smart choice approaches, whereby we gave basic information about the app and where you could download it. A third approach was a context-specific approach for new householders, either those moving into the area for the first time or moving home, whereby we positioned finding my local services as one of the tasks you would do when moving into a new property. The fourth approach was a time-specific approach to reinforce the NHS Stay Well This Winter campaign. Throughout the first launch, the main materials were A5 leaflets and holders, pop-ups which could appear in locations such as surgeries and foyers, and A3, A4 posters. The initial audiences and locations for our launch were primarily full set of materials delivered in advance to all 32 GP practices in our area, as well as our urgent care centres, but materials also went to a range of other locations across East Leicestershire and Rutland, and you can see some of them here. The official launch day was the 27th of November. On that day, we had a pre-programmed Twitter and Facebook campaign which began at 6:30 in the morning and ran throughout the day. We had a promotional video on our ELR CCG TV podcast channel, as well as on YouTube and embedded on our website. And our Director of Operations, Tim Sachs, also took place in an extended discussion in the mid-morning Jonathan Lampen show on BBC Radio Leicester. We were particularly heartened by the positive reaction to the launch across social media, in particular across Twitter, and here you can see some of the tweets that were made about NHS Now. We're delighted that the initial analysis of the soft launch phase shows that we have achieved our 2 main aims. Our first aim was to have a reasonable initial number of downloads, and our second aim was to obtain evidence that the app was promoting users to choose access to self-care, primary care and urgent care centres over A&E. As things stand in the middle of February 2016, we have had over 1,000 downloads of the app thus far, which we're delighted with. And we're even more delighted by the analysis of user behaviour. This shows that the most popular use of the app is to access self-care advice. There are 10 times as many people using NHS Now to access information about primary care, i.e. GPs, and urgent care and pharmacies, as there are using it to access information about A&E. There are almost 5 times as many people using it to access information about urgent care as A&E. We chose to include an option to phone 999 on the front page of the app so that the full range of options would be available to people. However, it doesn't appear to have caused an increase of people accessing 999 and therefore putting extra strain on the system. So that's what we've learned so far from the soft launch phase. But what do the users say about how they find using NHS Now?
I've downloaded the NHS Now app and it's absolutely professional. That's the difference that I would actually say to start with. If you click on part of it, it works, it reacts, and the information that you need in emergencies is there in brief. So if you need a doctor, you click the thing that says GP practice and it takes you to the nearest GP practice. I love the fact that if I don't like that GP practice, it tells me all the others as well if I open it up and look a bit further. And the very clever thing is that if I don't know the way, it will actually show me the way, because it will link into my other apps on my phone and it will actually direct me. So I find it a very clever app. I like the idea that it's got the 111. I like the idea that it's got the 999. I like the idea that it says, do you really need to go to the A&E? Do you really need to dial 999? So I find it a very effective app. I sometimes need medication, and sometimes I'm not in my local area. So the bit that I've actually used is, where's the local chemist? So personally, that's the bit that I've actually chased after. Sometimes, if you look at things like where's the GP practice, you need to know your own. But chemists, very useful to know where they are in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland.
Sat in the kitchen, downloaded the app, had a play, realised that, you know, gosh, this is potential. This opens up the whole new scope of how to find healthcare. Actually got something functional that actually explains 111, where to find a dentist, where to find a GP, hits you in the face as soon as you turn it on, and then takes you to the next step if you want to do the next step. And I think it's just great to be able to look up where all the GPs are, because you might not be in your own location, you might, and actually the travelling, finding that you actually got the distances was quite exciting, and the route to go. And it seemed to just not just be, oh, here's where the service are, but the things behind it that you actually needed to know. You needed to know how far that GP was from you, how to get there, and all that. I thought was really, really good. The app is terrific for those people who don't come to the surgery. It's terrific for the kids. You know, we've been to Lutterworth College. We're going to Lutterworth College rather, to actually do something in assembly, and you know, once they've got it in their hands, they will perhaps understand where to get their healthcare when they need it. Took it to the Healthwatch, was it the Healthwatch Leicestershire Board, and the subject came up, and I said, well, everybody had got their phones as they're doing. Oh no, we haven't got it yet. How do you do it? Oh right, can I have it? And the whole of the boards sat round downloading the app and having a play with it. I think that shows you probably how infectious it is.